Okay, mathematicians, welcome back. So for today's number sense routine, we're going to be doing another number string, but the focus of the number string today is going to be on making tens. So we're going to use our ability to make friendly numbers with 10 in the number string that we do today. Ready? So the first number sentence in the number string, and don't yell it out if you are working with someone at home. Think it in your head first. You need to give your parents or whoever is working with you a chance to do this too. Okay? It's 10. And then the second number in the number sentence is 13. So let's go back and read that number sentence together. 10 and 13. Okay. A few more seconds. Do you think you have that number in your head? Can you turn and talk and tell the person next to you what number do you think you get after putting 10 and 13 together? Okay, what is it, mathematicians? I'm hoping you're doing it at home with me. 23. And I'm hoping that some of you, again, use your ability to make tens in this number sentence. So maybe some of you saw that 13 can be broken down into 10 and 3. Hopefully, if you did see that, you were able to see that there were two tens that you could put together to make 20. And then you just added the 3 that was left over to get to 23. Thumbs up if you did it that way. Thumbs up if you did it a different way. Awesome. Some of you may have just counted on from 10 until you had 13 added on and you got to 23. Some of you may have counted 10 out on your fingers, then added another 10 on your fingers, and then added 3 more to get to 23. All of those are valid strategies, but what I want you to focus on doing today, even if you have all those strategies ready, is to focus on making tens, because we really need to practice making tens before we get to second grade. Because once you get to second grade, I really want you to impress your second grade teachers with everything that you know about making tens. Ready? Let's do the next number sentence together. Read it with me. 7 and 13. Now again, don't shout it out. Okay, a few more seconds. Okay, turn and talk and tell hopefully the person who's working with you what you think you get after putting 7 and 13 together. Okay, if you're still a little stuck, remember today, even though you have all those amazing strategies ready, think about how you could solve this by making tens. Okay, ready? So what is it? 20. Amazing work, mathematicians. And again, if you were using the strategy of making tens, some of you may have done this, where you saw that 13 again could be broken down into 10 and 3, and then maybe you remember from your number facts that 7 and 3, if you put them together, make a 10. Saw then that you had 2 tens, put those 2 tens together and got the answer of 20. Did any of you do it that way? Did any of you do it a different way? I'm betting some of you might have also done it this way, where you had 7 and 13, but then maybe you took 3 away from the 13 to make a 10, and then gave those 3 to the 7 to make that a 10. So you change this unfriendly number 13 into a friendly number, and then gave whatever you subtracted from there to the other number to make it a friendly number. It's basically what we did here, but just showing it in a different way. I'm thinking some of you might have done that because we practiced doing a little bit of that in the last number sense routine I think we did last week. Are you ready for the next number sentence? Great. Okay, so let's do 10 and 25. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I'm hoping some of you were able to use a similar strategy from what we use up here. Okay, what is it, mathematicians? 35. And I bet this one might have been easier than the others just because there's lots of friendly numbers right here. Not only do we have a 10, we also have a 20, and we have a 5. All of those are very important friendly numbers for us to start working with more regularly because it's going to make us amazing mathematicians. It's going to be able to help us to use efficient strategies if we're able to work with these three numbers very well. So let's see. If we were using the strategy of making tens, some of you might have actually just been able to take the 10 and the 25 and put it together, because you might have been able to actually do it this way, where you got the 25, counted on 10 more, and know that if you counted on 10 more, it's like skip counting by 10, so it would be 35. Some of you might have done the same strategy of making tens, but shown it in a different way, where you had your 10, you broke down your 25 into 20 and 5, added the two tens together, the two tens and the 20 to the other 10 to have 30, and then added the remaining numbers to get 35. Again, I'm hoping this is getting easier. If not, re-watch the video because it's very important in first grade for us to practice making those tens. Are you ready for the last number sentence? I'm barely going to be able to fit it. Okay, so the last one is going to be 7 plus 25. And I'm thinking this one might be a little bit trickier. So I'm going to give you a few more seconds to maybe do it in your head, to maybe do it on a piece of paper, to maybe talk it out with the person next to you. Think, how would you solve 7 plus 25 and still focus on the strategy of making tens? Okay, 3, 2, 1. What I'm actually going to do, mathematicians, is to put this number sentence on the next paper so we can have lots of room. One thing I want to encourage you to do is that even if you're someone who writes small, to still give yourself a lot of room to show your thinking. Some of you are trying to squeeze in like all the word problems on one piece of paper, and while that's great when submitting your work, it sometimes does makes it hard for us to grade. Okay, so let's see. If we were solving 7 plus 25 and trying to focus on making tens, one of the first things I'm thinking some of you might have wanted to do is to try to break down that 25 into 20 and 5. Maybe still saw that you can make the 5 into a number, or break it apart into two numbers to create a friendly number with the 7. So maybe you broke it down into 3 and 2 because you were hoping to create another friendly number by putting the 7 and the 3 together. Did you see how I did that, mathematicians? I'm going to show it again at the bottom right here. So I'm thinking some of you saw 7 and 25, broke down the 25 into 20 and 5, but then said to yourselves, you probably said, I can make another friendly number. Because remember, some of the most important friendly numbers we want to work with are 10, 20, and 5. And we definitely see a 20 right here. And we definitely do see a 5, but we don't see a 10. And sometimes that 10 can be really important for us to make. So you probably remembered from not first grade, from kindergarten, because I know you really practice making 5s in kindergarten, that a 5 can be broken down into 3 and 2. Then remembered from first grade that you can take a 7 and a 3 together and make a 10. And then put the remaining numbers together to get to, what is it? 10 plus 20 plus 5. Wait, hold on. Miss Juarez just made a mistake. Oh, see, mathematicians, this is why it's so important to check your work, because even teachers make these kinds of mistakes. I'm not adding that 5. I was looking up here when I wrote down that 5. I'm not adding that 5. I'm adding the remaining numbers. This is why I sometimes tell my students to make sure you circle the numbers you're working with so you don't make mistakes like I just did. So you take your 10 that I made with 7 and 3. That's why I crossed out those numbers. The 20 because that was the number left over, and then the 2 because that was the last number I was working with, so 32. Some of you might have done it that way, but as you saw, I even got confused. Some of you might have done it a different way, where you took the 25, took 3 away from that, changed that to 22, gave the 3 to the 7, and changed that into a 10, and then just added the remaining numbers to get to 32. That's another way where we can use 10s to solve this number sentence. So, thank you for working with me today. I can't wait to work with you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.